Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Before we really get started today, just a quick reminder. If you find these deep dives into English language and, communication helpful, please do hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
We've got lots more planned, so subscribing is the best way to stay updated.
Definitely.
Okay, so today we're tackling something that, well, it can feel like walking through a maze sometimes, right?
Especially when you're doing it in English.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking about mastering the art of small talk, specifically at parties.
Ah, yes. The party scenario. Social gatherings, they're supposed to be fun, relaxing even.
Supposed to be. But for a lot of people, the idea of starting conversations, maybe with strangers, and doing it in a language that isn't your first, well, it can be pretty daunting.
It really can. That pressure to think of something interesting to say on the spot.
Right. But the good news is, we've dug into some really excellent resources for this. Think of them like cheat sheets for confident conversation.
Packed with practical tips, actual phrases you can use.
That's the goal. Our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward, really. We want to equip you, our listener, with actionable strategies.
And those all-important English phrases.
Yes. The ones that will help you confidently initiate conversations at parties, and maybe just as importantly, keep them going smoothly.
Making it feel less like a chore and maybe even enjoyable.
Dare we say. Fun. Imagine that.
Exactly. We want to help you swap that awkward, silent feeling for, the confidence to actually connect with people.
So whether you've got a party circled on your calendar or you just want to feel a bit more comfortable in any social setting, really.
You're definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's picture it. You walk into a party, music's playing, people are chatting.
Yeah.
Maybe you only know the host or perhaps just a couple of faces.
That classic scenario, where do you even begin? How do you break into a conversation without feeling awkward?
That first step, it feels like the highest hurdle sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does. But our sources highlight some excellent opening lines. They're versatile, easy to remember, and crucially, they work in most party atmospheres.
All right, let's kick off with a super common one. You hear it all the time. Hey, how's it going?
So simple, right?
Almost too simple, maybe? But why does it actually work as an opener?
Well, its simplicity is, I think, its biggest strength. It's casual, it's friendly, it doesn't sound like you're trying too hard.
Okay, low pressure.
Exactly. And the how's it going part, it's an open-ended question. It's not just a yes-no.
Ah, right. It encourages more than just fine.
Precisely. It gently prompts the other person to share a little bit more, even if it's just a brief comment about their evening.
That makes a lot of sense. It's less direct, maybe less confrontational.
Yeah.
Than asking something really specific right away.
Yeah, it doesn't put them on the spot quite so much. And the resources give a good tip for making this even better right from the start.
They do. It's about adding context immediately.
Yes, like follow it up straight away with something relevant to the situation. For instance, hey, how's it going? Enjoying the party so far?
Okay, so you're anchoring it to the shared experience.
You are. It gives the other person a really easy, specific thing to respond to. They don't have to search their brain for a topic.
They can just talk about the music, the food, the general vibe.
Whatever's caught their attention. It's, like you said, it gives them a conversational launch pad.
Instead of them having to invent something out of thin air, they just react. Much easier.
Much easier. Okay, what's another reliable starter from our toolkit?
Well, there's the direct approach. Simple introduction. Hi, I'm your name. Nice to meet you.
Seems incredibly basic, almost like stating the obvious.
It does. But sometimes the straightforward path is the best one. Why is this one so fundamental?
Because it just cuts through any ambiguity. You're immediately breaking the ice, stating your intention to connect.
Offering your name, expressing pleasure.
It signals you're open to engaging, and it creates a very natural opening for them to respond in kind.
It's like a basic social script, isn't it? Most people will automatically offer their name back.
Almost instinctively, yeah. It's a fundamental courtesy.
But then,
yeah,
you can't just stop there, right?
Yeah.
Name exchanged. Silence.
No. Definitely not. Building on that intro is crucial. And the sources suggest a really smart follow-up question here.
Which one's that?
Once you've got the names out of the way, a fantastic way to keep the ball rolling is to ask about the host. Something like, hi, I'm Sarah, nice to meet you. How do you know host's name?
Ah, okay. That's clever. Because the host is the one thing everyone there likely has in common.
Precisely. It immediately establishes a potential link, even if it's just that shared connection to the person throwing the party.
It makes the whole thing feel less like talking to a complete stranger. You've instantly found a little piece of shared territory.
And it's amazing how quickly that can build a bit of rapport. You might find out you have mutual friends, or maybe you work in the same industry or went to the same school.
Or you just have similar funny stories about how you met the host.
Exactly. It's a fantastic springboard into a more natural conversation. Gives you something concrete to talk about.
Okay, moving on. Another suggestion uses the immediate surroundings. This place is great. Have you been here before?
Yes, commenting on the venue. This is often a very safe, neutral starting point.
Safe and neutral. Good words. Especially if you're feeling a bit unsure.
Right. And it worked particularly well if the party is somewhere a bit unique or maybe visually interesting. A cool bar, someone's nicely decorated apartment.
It gives you something tangible to focus on, something outside of yourselves initially. Avoids getting too personal too quickly.
And the resources show how to flesh this out a bit, make it more than just a passing comment.
How so?
Well, the example given is, this place is great. Have you been here before? I love how they've decorated it. See that last part.
Adding the specific detail. I love how they've decorated it.
Exactly. You're adding a personal touch, explaining why you think it's great. It makes your observation more engaging, more authentic.
It's not just a generic compliment then. It invites the other person to either agree or maybe point out something they've noticed about the decor or the venue.
Spot on. And if they have been there before, bingo. You can ask about their past experiences, what they like about it, maybe other similar places they know.
And if they haven't?
Then they might be curious about what caught your eye, or you can share a bit more about why you find it interesting. Either way, it keeps the conversation going.
Okay, next one shifts focus a bit. To the ears this time. I love the music. Who picked the playlist?
Music. As the sources point out, it has such broad appeal. It's a very common element at parties.
And commenting on it is usually pretty accessible, right?
Absolutely. Music sets the mood, doesn't it? And most people have some kind of opinion on it, even if it's just, this is nice background music.
Or, wow, this DJ is amazing.
Or even, not really my thing, but it can quickly reveal shared tastes, or at least open a discussion.
Again, the example provided shows how to take this beyond just a simple comment.
Right. The example is, I love the music. Who picked the playlist? I've been getting into this kind of music lately.
Okay, so you compliment it, maybe wonder about the source, but then you add that personal bit. I've been getting into this kind of music lately.
That's the key part, isn't it? By sharing a little something about your own interests, you're subtly inviting them to do the same.
You're opening the door for them to ask, oh yeah, what artists? Or, me too, have you heard?
Precisely. It turns a simple observation into a potential connection point. It shows you're willing to share, not just ask questions.
And that could easily lead into talking about favorite bands, concerts you've been to, maybe swapping recommendations.
Yeah, it's a great way to find common ground, or even just learn about something new.
Okay, our final conversation starter in this first batch looks beyond the party itself. So what do you do for fun when you're not at parties like this?
The hobbies and interests question. This one aims to uncover a bit more about the person themselves outside the immediate social context.
Getting beyond the small talk basics.
Exactly. It shifts the focus to what genuinely interests or excites them in their free time. You get a glimpse into their personality, their passions.
And the sources rightly point out, letting someone talk about their passions is a surefire way to keep them engaged.
People usually light up when they talk about things they love doing.
And the example shows a good way to phrase it.
It does. So what do you do for fun when you're not at parties like this? I'm into hiking and photography. Again, notice the pattern.
Sharing a personal detail yourself. I'm into hiking and photography.
Right. It's that principle of reciprocity again. You offer something about yourself, making it safer and more comfortable for them to share something in return.
It prevents it from feeling like an interrogation, where you're just firing questions at them.
Right.
It's more of an exchange.
Absolutely. It creates that opening for them to respond naturally, maybe asking about your hiking spots or your photography.
Or share their own completely different hobbies. Oh, that's cool. I'm actually really into board games.
And boom, you have another conversational thread to follow.
Okay, so those are some really solid ways to just get things started, break the ice.
Crucial first steps.
But what about after that initial opening? You've exchanged names, you'd commented on the music. How do you stop the conversation from fizzling out after 30 seconds?
Yes. Keeping the momentum going. That requires a bit more active engagement.
It's not just about asking questions, is it?
No, it's about showing genuine interest, really listening to their answers, and then asking thoughtful follow-up questions that encourage them to elaborate or share more.
So let's revisit one we mentioned as a follow-up to introductions. How do you know the host? Why is this still useful even after the initial pleasantries?
Well, like we said, it's a logical next step. But beyond that, digging a little deeper into that connection can uncover interesting background.
You might find unexpected links.
Exactly. Shared social circles, maybe friends of friends. It reinforces that sense of connection within the context of the party.
And the example provided shows how to do this effectively. How do you know Tom? I met him through work, and we've been friends ever since.
C. You ask the question, but you also immediately volunteer your connection story.
Making it an exchange again.
Right. This often prompts them to share their own narrative. Oh, I know Tom from college, or we volunteer together, or actually I only met him last month.
And those little stories could be quite revealing, sometimes funny.
Definitely. And as the sources emphasize, discussing these mutual acquaintances, even just the host, really helps solidify that common ground. It makes the interaction feel warmer, more personal.
You're building a shared context.
Precisely. You might discover you both know Sarah from accounts, or you both went to the host's barbecue last summer. More connection points.
Okay, what about music again? We used it as a starter, but can it sustain a conversation too? The question, what kind of music are you into?
Oh, absolutely. Music is such a rich topic. It's so personal and diverse.
So asking about their specific tastes can open up a lot more discussion than just commenting on the party playlist.
For sure. You might discover shared favorites, or they might introduce you to artists you've never heard of. It's a great way to connect on a taste level.
And the example again highlights that personal touch. What kind of music are you into? I've been listening to a lot of indie rock lately.
By mentioning what you've been enjoying, you give them a specific reference point.
It makes it easier for them to respond, doesn't it?
Much easier. They can react to indie rock. Oh, cool. Any particular bands? Or, not my scene. I'm more into electronic music. Either response keeps the conversation alive.
And like the resources say, this can easily branch out into talking about concerts, festivals, maybe even learning an instrument.
Loads of possibilities. And it's generally a pretty safe, low-stakes topic, too. Even if your tastes are completely different, you can usually have a friendly chat about it.
Good point. No need for arguments over musical taste. Usually.
Hopefully not at a party.
Okay, next question shifts gears a bit, exploring their background. Are you from around here, or did you move to this city?
This is a great one for understanding a bit more about someone's personal journey, their history.
Where they come from, how they ended up here?
Yeah, it often leads to really interesting stories, maybe about their hometown or the reasons that they decided to move, or what they love or find challenging about the current city.
And the example follows that pattern we've seen. Are you from around here, or did you move to this city? I just moved from Chicago last year.
Share your own situation first. It lowers the barrier for them to share theirs.
Makes you seem more relatable, less like you're just gathering information.
Exactly. They might then share how long they've lived here or ask you about Chicago or what prompted your move. It opens up multiple conversational pathways.
And as the sources mention, this can also lead naturally into talking about the local area, favorite spots, things to do.
Oh, you just moved here. Have you checked out that park by the river? Or what do you think of the food scene compared to Chicago?
Again, finding common ground or offering helpful recommendations. Building connection.
Always the goal.
All right, let's talk travel. Many people love talking about travel. The question, have you traveled anywhere exciting recently?
Oh, this is often a winner. Most people either enjoy reminiscing about past trips or dreaming about future ones.
Taps into positive experiences, adventure.
Exactly. Asking about recent trips often gets people talking enthusiastically about places they've been, things they've seen, experiences they've had.
And the example shows how to inject your own enthusiasm. Have you traveled anywhere exciting recently? I went to Thailand last summer and had the time of my life.
Sharing your own positive experience makes it more inviting. It's not just a question, it's an opening to potentially share travel stories.
It makes the conversation feel more vibrant.
Absolutely. And even if they haven't traveled recently, they might still be interested in hearing about your Thailand trip.
Or they might talk about where they'd like to go.
Which is also a great conversation. It keeps things light, often aspirational, and you can learn a lot about someone's interest from their travel preferences. Adventure travel, relaxing beaches, cultural deep dives.
Tells you something about them. Okay, final question in this section is about screen time. What's the best movie or show you've watched lately?
Pop culture. A very common and usually safe bet for small talk.
Most people watch something, right? Movies, streaming shows?
Pretty much. So most people will have an opinion or a recent favorite they can talk about. It's relatable territory.
And the example adds that personal judgment. What's the best movie or show you've watched lately? I just finished Breaking Bad and it was amazing.
Giving your own take, it was amazing, invites a reaction.
They might agree passionately, oh my God, yes, wasn't it incredible? Or disagree, really, I couldn't get into it. Or offer their own recommendation.
Right. If they've seen it, you can discuss characters, plot twists. If they haven't, maybe you've just given them their next binge watch recommendation.
And talking about shows and movies, as the sources note, can spark quite lively discussions. People often have strong feelings about them.
They do, and it can easily lead to swapping recommendations, discovering shared tastes and genres, and so on. It flows naturally.
Plus, it's fairly casual. Doesn't require revealing deep personal secrets right off the bat.
Good point. Comfortable territory for early conversation.
Okay, so we've got starters, we've got questions to keep it flowing. Now, the resources highlight something really clever, actually using the party environment itself.
Yes. This is about leveraging your immediate shared surroundings as conversation fuel. Sometimes the easiest topics are right in front of you.
Less pressure to think of abstract questions, maybe.
Exactly. You're commenting on a shared reality. Let's start with something universally popular. Food. The suggestion is, the food looks amazing. Have you tried the appetizers?
Can't go wrong talking about food generally.
Generally not. Complimenting the spread or asking about a specific item, it creates an instant shared sensory experience. You're both looking at or eating the same things.
And the example given is quite specific. The food looks amazing. Have you tried the mini tacos? I heard they're the best.
That's a great example. Why is it effective?
Well, it names a specific item, the mini tacos. And it adds that little bit of intrigue. I heard they're the best.
Right. That hearsay element makes it more engaging. It invites the other person to confirm, deny, or offer their own opinion. Oh, yeah, they are good, but have you tried the spring rolls?
Or, no, I haven't tried them yet. Are they really that good? Instant follow-up.
And talking about the party food can easily lead into broader discussions about food preferences, cooking, favorite restaurants. It's a natural pathway.
You might discover you're both passionate foodies or swap recipes.
All from commenting on the mini tacos.
Okay, next environmental cue involves getting active. Is anyone planning to go to the dance floor soon?
Observing or commenting on the party activities. This is a light-hearted way to connect.
Gauging interest, maybe seeing if anyone else feels like dancing.
Yeah, or just commenting on the energy. It taps into the interactive social side of the event.
And the example here uses a nice touch of humor. Is anyone planning to go to the dance floor soon? I'm a terrible dancer, but I might give it a try.
That self-deprecation, admitting you're a terrible dancer, makes you seem more approachable, doesn't it?
Definitely less intimidating. Takes the pressure off.
It can actually encourage others. Oh, me too. Maybe we should be terrible together. It keeps things fun and light.
Focused on the here and now of the party experience.
And it's a soft invitation. People can easily respond with, not yet, or maybe later, without feeling obliged.
Okay, similar theme. Another activity. I noticed they have a karaoke setup. Do you sing?
Karaoke. Depending on the party, this can be a gold mine for interaction.
Even if you're not a singer yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Watching karaoke can be just as entertaining, sometimes more so.
True. And the example shows how to engage, even if you're not grabbing the mic. I noticed they have a karaoke setup. Do you sing? I'm too shy for karaoke, but I love watching others perform.
See? You express interest, ask about them, but also share your own feelings. I'm too shy. Makes it relatable.
Creates an opening for them to share their karaoke stance. Are they a secret superstar? Also too shy? Do they have a go-to song?
Exactly. And it might lead to funny stories about past karaoke experiences, either theirs or ones they've witnessed.
And as the sources say, you might even get invited to join a group song or just cheer someone on.
It can definitely lead to some memorable moments.
All right, shifting from specific activities to the overall feel. I love the vibe here. Who's organizing all of this?
Complementing the atmosphere. This is a really positive way to engage.
Shows appreciation for the effort that's gone into the event.
Right. It acknowledges the host or organizers. And asking who's organizing can shift the chat towards the planning, the hosts themselves, the theme.
The example adds a bit more. I love the vibe here. Who's organizing all of this? It's been such a great event so far.
That specific positive feedback, such a great event so far, reinforces the compliment.
And it can lead to conversations about, well, party planning. Maybe they helped set up, or they know the host really well and can share some background.
Or maybe they're involved in event planning themselves. You never know what interesting connections might emerge.
It's a way of appreciating the shared environment.
Definitely.
Okay, final environmental cue involves drinks. I've been hearing a lot about this new drink. Have you tried it?
The signature cocktail or special beverage. If there's something unique being served, it's a ready-made conversation topic.
Shows you're observant and curious.
Yes, and asking if they've tried it invites their opinion, their recommendation.
The example. I've been hearing a lot about this new drink. Have you tried it? I'm curious to know if it's any good. Very direct expression of curiosity.
Makes it easy for them to respond, yes, it's delicious. Or, a bit too sweet for me. Or, no, but I was thinking about it too.
And that can lead to talking about favorite drinks in general, maybe recommending other things at the bar.
Or even suggesting you both try it together, another small shared experience.
Finding common ground over the punch bowl.
Essentially, yes. It connects you through something specific to that event.
Wow, okay. So we've covered a lot. Starters, flow keepers, using the environment. It feels like a really practical toolkit.
It really is. But let's touch on a couple more general tips from the sources for just keeping things smooth, making sure the conversation doesn't just die out awkwardly.
Right, maintaining that flow once you're past the initial stages.
It really comes down to active listening, doesn't it? Showing you're genuinely taking in what they say.
And asking relevant follow-ups, not just jumping to a completely new topic.
Exactly. Building on what's already been said. For instance, building on the food topic again. I heard this place has great food. What's your favorite dish here?
So moving beyond just, have you tried the tacos, to asking for their favorite.
Yes, it makes it more personal. You're asking for their specific recommendation, their opinion.
And the example includes that personal share again. I heard this place has great food. What's your favorite dish here? I'm obsessed with the spicy wings.
Sharing your own enthusiasm makes it more conversational. They might agree about the wings or champion a different dish entirely.
Oh, the wings are good, but you have to try the sliders.
Exactly. It keeps the food chat going, but on a more personal recommendation level, it's just a very natural, comfortable topic for most people.
Okay, here's a slightly bolder one suggested for keeping things interesting. What's something interesting about you that most people don't know?
This one's designed to dig a little deeper, move past the surface level.
It's an invitation to share something unique, maybe unexpected.
Precisely. It shows you're interested in them as an individual. Beyond just the standard small talk questions, it can lead to some really fascinating, memorable answers.
The example given is, what's something interesting about you that most people don't know? I used to play guitar in a band.
That's a great example of the kind of surprising detail it might elicit, something not immediately obvious.
And learning something like that definitely makes the conversation more engaging, right? Creates a stronger connection.
Absolutely. It gives them a chance to share a part of their identity they might be proud of or find interesting themselves.
And it naturally begs follow-up questions. Oh, really? What kind of music? What was the band called?
Keeps the conversation moving, but on a more personal, intriguing level. It's a fun way to learn something new and keep them engaged.
Okay, and the resources mentioned one final example question for maintaining flow. What's the next thing you're looking forward to in life?
This one shifts the focus towards the future. Aspirations, plans, upcoming events.
Moving beyond the past or present.
Yeah. It can reveal a lot about someone's goals, their dreams, what's currently exciting them or motivating them.
So it could be anything from a big vacation they're planning to a promotion they're hoping for, or even just a concert next weekend.
Exactly. Big or small. It explores their outlook, what's on their horizon. It can lead to more meaningful conversations about priorities and passions.
Gain a bit more insight into what makes them tick.
Definitely. A more forward-looking perspective.
So looking back at all this, it seems like the core message is about being prepared, but also being genuinely curious and willing to share a little yourself.
That sums it up nicely. Having a few opening lines and follow-up questions in your back pocket removes a lot of the anxiety.
Takes the pressure off thinking of something brilliant on the spot.
Right. But then it's about actually listening, reacting naturally, and using things like the environment or sharing your own experiences to build rapport.
It makes small talk seem less like a performance and more like, well, just talking to people.
Which is ultimately what it is. And these techniques just help make that process smoother and more comfortable, especially in English.
And the key takeaway seems to be, practice helps. The more you try these things out, the more natural they'll feel.
Absolutely. Confidence comes with experience. Don't be afraid to try initiating a conversation using one of these starters next time you're at a gathering. See what happens.
Observe what feels comfortable for you, what gets a good response. Adapt them to your own style.
We really encourage you, the listener, to pick one or two of these phrases or questions that resonate with you and make a point of trying them out.
So here's a final thought to leave you with as you head towards your next social event, perhaps. How might getting comfortable with this kind of small talk actually open up doors for you?
Yeah, what unexpected opportunities for connection, friendship, maybe even professional links could come from simply being able to chat more easily with people?
It's more than just filling silence, isn't it?
Much more. It's about building bridges, expanding your world, making social situations less stressful and more rewarding.
Well, that feels like a good place to wrap up this particular deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground on mastering small talk.
We certainly have. Thank you so much for joining us and exploring all these strategies.
We genuinely hope you found these tips and examples useful, something you can actually put into practice to boost your confidence.
And feel more comfortable in those party situations.
Absolutely. And hey, if you enjoyed this discussion and you're keen to explore more about English communication, language skills, all that good stuff,
please do head over and subscribe to the channel. That's English Easy here. We've got plenty more deep dives planned to help you on your language journey.
we really appreciate you spending this time with us today. Seriously. Yes. Thanks so much to everyone who stuck with us right to the very end of this deep dive. We appreciate your time.
We do indeed.
And one last time, if this was helpful, please consider subscribing to English Easy here. It helps us out and ensures you won't miss future explorations.
We'd love to have you as part of the community.
Looking forward to the next one. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the deep dive. We are genuinely excited to have you join us for another exploration.
Great to be here.
Before we get started on today's topic, if you're finding these deep dives valuable and you'd like to support our work, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel English Easy here.
Yeah, it really does help us keep creating this kind of content for you.
It absolutely does. Your subscription means a lot.
So today we're diving into something, well, incredibly practical. We're talking about navigating those initial conversations on dates in English.
Right. That small talk phase.
Exactly. We've looked at quite a few different sources, actually, to bring you what we hope is a really comprehensive guide. How to make small talk feel comfortable, natural.
Whether it's the very first time meeting or maybe you've chatted online a bit already.
Precisely. First meeting or building on something that's already there.
So our mission, if you will, for you today is basically to equip you with some real practical strategies and phrases too.
Yeah, things you can actually use. The goal is for you to feel, well, more confident, more at ease on your dates in English.
We want you to actually enjoy the conversation, have fun with it, build some genuine rapport.
And hopefully create deeper connections without, feeling totally overwhelmed or like you're constantly stuck for words.
Okay, sounds good. So let's get right into it then. That very first moment, that initial hello.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that feels like the biggest hurdle, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It can be pretty daunting. The very beginning really does set the tone for, well, the whole interaction.
So what have our sources suggested? What are some good ways to kick things off?
Well, one opener that came up quite a bit, especially for those first face-to-face meetings after you've maybe connected online or through friends, is simply saying something like, hey, it's great to finally meet you in person.
I like that. It feels really natural, right? Particularly if you've had that prior online chat.
Exactly. It directly acknowledges that step, moving from virtual to, well, real life.
Yeah. Why do you think just saying that is so effective?
Well, there are a few reasons, I think. First off, it just expresses something positive straight away. It says, I'm glad this is happening.
Okay, good start.
Secondly, it's quite disarming. It's friendly. It's open. It doesn't really put any pressure on the other person immediately.
Right, it's not like asking a tough question right off the bat.
Not at all. And thirdly, as one of the examples highlighted, you could add something like, I've been looking forward to this.
Hey, it's great to finally meet you in person. I've been looking forward to this. Yeah.
Exactly. That little bit of added anticipation, it can be quite flattering, actually. And it helps build some positive energy right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. It subtly says, I value your time. I'm invested in this.
Precisely. It shows you're genuinely excited about the possibility of the date.
I like that. It's friendly, it's direct, but still light. And it has that little boost of excitement. Okay, so that's great for the first meet after online scenario. What about something maybe a bit more universal, a reliable go-to?
Well, there's a timeless classic, isn't there? And it's classic for a reason. Just asking, how was your day?
Simple, effective.
Very effective, I think. It seems basic, maybe, but it shows a really fundamental part of good conversation. You're actually interested in the other person's well-being.
Absolutely. It's not intrusive. It's just checking in. It's like a low-pressure way to invite them to share something, isn't it?
Exactly. And what makes it useful is that it allows them to choose how much or what they want to share.
Right. They could talk about works or something funny that happened or just...
oh, it's fine, pretty quiet, you
Yeah.
know. It gives them control over that initial level of personal info.
Makes sense.
And the example given was something like, how was your day? I had a pretty relaxed one, just getting ready for tonight. So sharing a little something about your own day that can encourage them to open up a bit too.
Yeah, that reciprocity thing.
Exactly. And the crucial part, as the sources suggest, is that their answer, whatever it is, can naturally lead into other things. You know, their job, maybe hobbies, what they do for fun.
It's a springboard, like you said. Ask about the day, and suddenly you could be talking about their passion project.
Yeah.
Or their annoying commute.
Precisely. It opens doors to learning more about their actual life.
Okay, good. Now, what about acknowledging the elephant in the room? The fact that it is a date. Is there a way to touch on that lightly without being weird?
Yeah, there is. Our guide mentioned a question described as playful and maybe slightly flirty.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
It's something like, so what made you want to go on this date?
Okay. Requires the right tone, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. The delivery is key here. It needs to sound light, genuinely curious, definitely not demanding or like you're putting them on the spot.
Right, not like justify your presence. More like what caught your eye.
Exactly. Why do you think this kind of slightly more direct question can work then?
Well, I suppose it gives them a chance to say something nice about you, maybe? Or about why they're dating in general.
That's part of it. It allows them to articulate what piqued their interest, which can be quite flattering, like you said. It also subtly invites them to share maybe a little about their intentions for dating.
Interesting.
The example was, so what made you want to go on this date? I thought it would be fun to get to know someone new. So framing it in a positive, exploratory way yourself helps.
So you offer your reason too.
Yeah.
Makes it less one-sided.
Exactly. And as highlighted, this can genuinely lead into a wider chat about maybe past dating experiences or what they're actually looking for in a connection.
So you get some valuable insights, potentially quite early on.
You can, yeah. It's a gentle way to kind of gauge their interest level and maybe see if your motivations are sort of aligned.
That makes sense. Okay, another scenario. What if you're meeting somewhere specific, like a new restaurant or a cool cafe?
Well, that gives you a built-in icebreaker right there.
Use your surroundings.
Exactly. The sources suggest asking something really simple like, have you been to this place before?
Easy, natural, effortless even. Because you immediately share something, the venue.
Precisely. It takes the pressure right off trying to invent something totally new to say.
So what kind of conversations can this simple question lead to?
Well, quite a few things, actually. It can obviously lead to talking about their preferences. Do they come here often? Is this their kind of vibe?
Do they know what's good on the menu?
Right. If they have been there, they might have recommendations. If not, you can explore the menu together. It can also open the door to talking about their general tastes, food, atmosphere, different kinds of places they enjoy hanging out.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the example, have you been to this place before? I've heard great things about it. That also adds a subtle compliment, maybe to their choice if they picked it, or just about the place itself.
Nice touch.
And yeah, it really does open doors to finding out about their favorite spots, the types of places they like, which gives you more clues about their lifestyle, you know.
Definitely a great tip. Use what's right in front of you. Okay, one more for the starting out phase. What's a really solid, reliable question for just learning about someone's core interests?
You really, really can't go wrong with the classic. So what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
The old faithful. Straightforward, but effective.
Incredibly effective, because it gets right to the heart of someone's passions, how they choose to spend their time when they're not obligated to do something else like work.
It's broad, isn't it? So they can answer in lots of different ways.
Exactly. And that's why it's so valuable early on. It taps into what genuinely excites them, what brings them joy.
And hobbies and interests often say a lot about someone's personality.
Yes, they really do. Their values may be what makes them tick. And the example given, So what do you enjoy doing in your free time? I've recently gotten into hiking. Again, shows the value of sharing a little bit about yourself first.
Right, lead by example.
It encourages your date to reciprocate, to share more openly in return. And the really key takeaway here is that their answer can just branch off into so many different topics. It's a fantastic way to spot any shared hobbies or interests.
Which is huge for building connection, obviously.
Absolutely crucial, finding that common ground.
Okay, great. So we've navigated the potentially tricky opening moments.
Yeah.
The conversation is actually underway. Phew. Now what? How do we keep that momentum going and, crucially, avoid those dreaded awkward silences?
Ah, yes, keeping the flow. That is absolutely key, isn't it? Our guide offers several really good questions here, designed to keep things light, engaging, but also moving things forward naturally.
Okay, lay 'em on me.
So one suggestion is, what kind of movies or shows do you like to watch?
Entertainment. That's pretty universal, right? Most people watch something.
Exactly. Films, TV series, documentaries, YouTube, whatever it is. It's a great way to get a feel for someone's tastes without getting, super personal right away.
Yeah. Why is entertainment such a good conversation driver?
Well, mainly because it's something most people have an opinion on and can talk about pretty easily. Whether they love action flicks or rom-coms or deep dive documentaries.
There's usually something to connect over.
Right.
Or even playfully disagree about.
Right. Even oh, really? I couldn't get into that show can be a conversation starter. And like the example, what kind of movies or shows do you like to watch? I'm a big fan of thrillers and documentaries. Again, you share your own preferences. It makes it an exchange.
Not an interrogation.
Precisely. And the real end of it is finding those shared interests. Discovering you both love the same obscure sci-fi show or you both hate reality TV, that creates an immediate point of connection.
And then you can get into specifics, right? Favorite actors, directors, what you've seen lately.
Exactly. Recommendations, discussions about plot twists, loads of potential there.
Makes perfect sense.
Sure.
Finding those little overlaps builds rapport quickly.
Okay, what's another question that maybe digs a little deeper, gets into aspirations perhaps? Yeah, building on just current tastes, a really engaging one is, what's something you've always wanted to try or learn?
Ooh, I like that one. It's forward-looking.
It is. It moves beyond just what they do currently and taps into their ambitions, their curiosities, maybe things they dream about doing.
What kind of insights can you get from that question? What does it reveal?
Well, potentially quite a lot. It could reveal a sense of adventure, maybe, or a willingness to step outside their comfort zone, their personal growth goals, what they value learning about.
It feels a bit more profound than just, what are your hobbies?
It can be, yeah. It offers a glimpse into potentially longer-term interests or passions. The example was, what's something you've always wanted to try or learn? I've always wanted to take a cooking class.
Relatable. Specific.
Right. And as the sources point out, it encourages them to talk about their passions, but crucially, it also gives you a really natural opening to share your own aspirations.
So it fosters connection through sharing those maybe slightly more vulnerable dreams or ambitions?
Exactly. Shared vulnerability, shared dreams, that can definitely deepen the connection beyond just surface level chat.
Great question. Okay, shifting gears slightly, how about learning more about their kind of current day-to-day life and what they're passionate about right now?
Right. So a really effective question for this, focusing on satisfaction, is what do you love about your job? Or, if they've mentioned a significant hobby, what do you love about that hobby?
That's smart. Focusing on the love part. Why is that more insightful than just say, do you like your job?
Because do you like your job can often get a simple yes/no or a kind of non-committal it's okay. Asking what they love about it prompts them to focus on the positive aspects, the rewarding parts.
Right. It encourages them to articulate what they actually find enjoyable or meaningful about it.
Exactly. The example given was, what do you love about your job? I find it so rewarding to see my projects come to life. That gives you a real glimpse into their values, what motivates them professionally, maybe.
Yeah, you learn what drives them.
And as the guide suggests, this type of answer can really open up a more in-depth conversation about their values, what they find meaningful, not just in work, but maybe in life generally. Gives you a richer understanding.
That's a much better way to approach the work talk than the usual routine questions. Okay, what about shared experiences? Even if you haven't, shared them together yet.
Yes. Travel comes up here. Our guide suggests asking, what's one of the most memorable trips you've ever been on?
Travel. That's a big one. Most people have at least one story, right? Good or bad.
Exactly. It's such a common interest, and travel stories often evoke strong emotions, vivid memories. They're great conversation fuel.
What makes travel such a good topic for a date? specifically?
Well, partly because it allows them to share a personal narrative, a story, and those stories often reveal a lot about someone's personality.
Like, are they an adventurous backpacker type or a luxury resort type?
Precisely. Do they prefer relaxing on a beach or hiking up a mountain? What kind of things do they value when they explore? Food, culture, history, adventure.
You learn a lot indirectly.
You really do. And the example, what's one of the most memorable trips you've ever been on? I went to Italy last year and had the best food ever. Shows how easily travel can lead to related topics. Food, culture, maybe other interests came up on the trip.
Yeah, lots of potential follow-up questions there.
Absolutely. And as the sources say, these stories really can reveal personality, that sense of adventure or lack thereof, offering valuable insights into their character.
Fantastic way to learn about someone without being too direct or intrusive. Okay, one more in this section. What if you get the vibe your date is kind of active, or maybe you are, and you want to explore that? Fitness, sports, that kind of thing.
Right. If that seems relevant, a good direct question could be, do you like to stay active? What kind of exercises or sports do you enjoy?
Okay. Pretty straightforward. Good way to see if you share lifestyle preferences, maybe.
Exactly. It's a direct route to gauging their interest in physical activity, maybe health and wellness in general.
What kind of discussions can this lead to? Beyond just, yes, I go to the gym.
Well, it can lead into their specific fitness routines, maybe favorite sports they play, or even just watch. Perhaps their general approach to well-being. Maybe they hate gyms but love hiking, or they're training for a marathon.
Lots of possibilities.
Yeah. And the example, do you like to stay active? I love yoga, but I'm also trying to get more into running. Again, shows that sharing your own interests encourages them to share theirs.
Makes it a conversation, not a quiz.
Exactly. And as the guide points out, if you do uncover mutual fitness interests, maybe you both love tennis or cycling, that could even open the door down the line to suggesting a shared activity.
Subtly checking compatibility for future dates, perhaps.
Potentially, exploring lifestyle compatibility in a natural way.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got solid strategies for starting and maintaining the conversation. But dates shouldn't feel like an interview, right? How can you inject some personality, some humor, lighten the mood, and really build that rapport?
Yes. Humor is such a powerful tool, isn't it? For building connection, easing any tension. It's huge. Our guide offered some really nice, playful ways to bring humor in naturally.
Okay, let's hear them. How can we be funny without trying too hard?
Right, that's the key. One suggestion is something like, I'm not sure if I should be nervous or excited, but here we are.
I like that. It's relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Acknowledges the slightly awkward reality of first dates sometimes, and it's a bit self-effacing.
Exactly. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously. You can laugh at the situation. That can be incredibly disarming for the other person.
Makes you seem more human.
Definitely. And the example adds that little positive spin at the end. I'm not sure if I should be nervous or excited, but here we are. I'm definitely excited, though.
Reinforces the enthusiasm. Good touch.
Yeah. And as the sources suggest, this kind of gentle, self-deprecating humor can make you seem really approachable, easygoing.
Great way to break the ice and show you're comfortable just being real. Okay, here's another one mentioned. I have a terrible memory for names, so I might call you Buddy by accident. That's quite bold.
It is a bit bold, but again, the delivery is crucial. It has to land as clearly humorous, not like you're actually planning to forget their name.
Right, said with a smile. Why would this kind of slightly silly admission work?
Well, it preemptively tackles a really common dating anxiety, right? Forgetting names. It does it in a lighthearted, memorable way. It also shows vulnerability and self-awareness, but wrapped in a joke.
Makes you seem less like you're trying to be perfect, maybe.
Exactly that. More human. And the example adds, sorry in advance if I do. That little preemptive apology enhances the humor.
Gotcha.
And yeah, the guide reinforces that humor just keeps the conversation light. Gives you both something to chuckle about, hopefully creating a more relaxed, enjoyable vibe.
I can see that working, if delivered well. Okay, another interesting one. I have a weird habit of getting excited about the smallest things. Like trying to guess the mystery flavor of a drink. That's very specific.
It is, and that specificity is actually part of its charm, I think.
Yeah.
Sharing a slightly quirky personal detail like that can make you more memorable, more relatable somehow.
How does sharing little quirks like that help build connection, do you think?
Because it shows a bit of your authentic self, maybe the slightly sillier side. It suggests you're comfortable enough to share these little oddities.
Which might encourage them to share theirs too.
Exactly. It creates an opening for them. And the example even adds an action. Like, trying to guess the mystery flavor of a drink. I'm going to try it now. That makes it even more engaging and immediate.
Brings it to life.
Yeah. And the sources say sharing these kinds of things can prompt your date to share their own funny habits or quirks, creating that nice sense of shared humanity, little imperfections.
That's a lovely way to build a bit of intimacy, actually. Through small, shared, slightly funny moments.
Okay, final example for humor. If I start rambling, just stop me. I tend to do that when I'm nervous.
Right. Again, this shows good self-awareness and a willingness to be a little vulnerable about potential nerves, but framed lightheartedly. It can actually be quite endearing.
Why do you think acknowledging nerves with humor works so well?
Because it just normalizes that slight awkwardness that can definitely be part of dating. It shows you're not trying to project this image of absolute cool perfection.
I'm totally calm. This is fine.
Right. Instead, you're acknowledging, yeah, I might get a bit chatty when I'm nervous. And the example adds, but I promise I'm not boring you. Which is a nice, reassuring touch. Keeps it positive.
So it doesn't sound like you're just making excuses.
Exactly. And as the guide says, that mix of self-awareness and humor can really help create a fun, relaxed atmosphere. Makes both people feel a bit more at ease. Okay, great ways to inject some personality and fun. Now, it's just as important, maybe even more important sometimes, to know what not to talk about, especially early on. What does our guide say we should steer clear of?
Ah, yes. The what to avoid section. This is crucial for navigating those initial chats successfully. Knowing what not to say is just as vital as knowing what to say.
To avoid accidentally stepping on a landmine.
Pretty much. Being mindful of topics that could make your date uncomfortable is key. Our guide highlights a few main areas where it's probably best to tread carefully. First up, controversial topics. Think politics, religion.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. These are often deeply personal, highly charged subjects.
Exactly. Unless you somehow already know the person shares your views or the topic comes up incredibly organically and carefully, it's usually wise to avoid them on a first or even second date.
Why is it generally best to steer clear initially? What's the risk?
Well, the main risk is just creating division or discomfort really quickly. First dates are fundamentally about finding common ground, building rapport.
And these topics often highlight differences, sometimes quite starkly.
Precisely. They come with strong opinions, pre-existing beliefs, lots of emotional baggage sometimes. You don't want the first deep conversation to be an argument.
Definitely not.
And the example phrase provided was quite good. Something like, I try to avoid discussing politics on first dates, but I'd love to hear your opinions once we get to know each other better.
That's smooth. It acknowledges the topic exists, but politely parks it for later.
Exactly. Leaves the door open, potentially, but not right now. And the tip wisely says, gauge their comfort level first. Don't just launch into a tirade about something sensitive.
Yeah, read the room. Sound advice. Okay, what's another area generally best left unexplored in the early dating stages?
Past relationships. Exes.
The X-Files. Yeah, that feels like a definite avoid.
Our guide strongly suggests avoiding talking extensively about ex-partners too early on. It can be a real conversation killer, and it can send some pretty negative signals.
Absolutely. Like maybe you're not over your ex, or you're comparing your date to them. Neither is good.
Exactly. Why is it such a minefield, conversationally speaking? Well, mostly because it completely shifts the focus away from the present, away from the connection you're trying to build right there, right then.
Yeah, you're looking backwards, not forwards.
Right. And it can also lead to really uncomfortable comparisons, make your date feel like they're being measured against someone from your past, or make them wonder why you're dwelling on it.
Not a great feeling on a date.
Not at all. The example suggested was a good redirect. I'd rather focus on getting to know you better rather than talking about exes. Let's make tonight all about us.
Clear, positive, and brings the focus right back to the present. I like it.
Yeah. And the tip just reinforces that point. Discussing exes too early, generally awkward, steered towards more positive, neutral ground. The goal is building something new.
Makes total sense. Keep the focus on the yeses right now. Okay, finally, what's a common conversational pitfall that people can fall into, even with good intentions?
Talking too much about yourself.
The monologue date. We've all been on one, maybe. Or been the monologuer.
Possibly. Our guide cautions against it. Sharing is important, obviously, but completely dominating the conversation, that can be really off-putting. And it stops you from actually learning about your date.
Crucial reminder. It's got to be a two-way street, right? A dialogue.
Absolutely. Why is balance so important? Because a Good conversation is a dialogue, like you said, not a monologue. If you just talk and talk about yourself without showing genuine interest in them.
You come across as self-centered, uninterested.
Exactly. It kills the rapport. Balance is absolutely key to showing that you value their thoughts, their experiences, just as much as sharing your own.
So how do you catch yourself and fix it?
Self-awareness helps. And the example provided is a great way to pivot. Wow, I feel like I've been talking about myself a lot. Tell me more about you. What's your favorite way to spend the weekend? Or something similar.
Acknowledge it, then immediately turn the spotlight back onto them with a question.
Exactly. And the tip really hammers this home. Share. Yes, that builds connection. But you have to actively listen. Focus on your date. Keeps things balanced. Show you're genuinely interested in them as a person.
Active listening, key skill in life, definitely key on a date.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we've started the chat, kept it flowing, added some humor, avoided the major pitfalls. Now the date's winding down. How do we wrap up the conversation smoothly and leave a positive final impression?
Right. The ending is important, too. It's your last chance on this occasion to kind of create a good feeling and maybe signal your intentions. Our guide suggests ending things smoothly, positively.
No awkward hovering by the door wondering what to say next.
Hopefully not. A simple, effective phrase suggested is something like, I really enjoyed our conversation tonight. Let's definitely do this again sometime.
Okay, clear. Positive, expresses interest, but without being overly intense or demanding, right?
Exactly. It clearly states you had a good time. I really enjoyed our conversation. And it clearly signals you'd like to see them again. Let's definitely do this again sometime.
Leaves the ball gently in the court for future plans, maybe.
Yeah, it leaves the door open for that next step, whether it's planning the next date then and there or following up later. It does it without putting too much pressure on either person right in that moment.
Just ends things on a simple, positive, hopeful note.
Exactly. A nice high note to finish on.
Well, this has been incredibly useful, I think. A really insightful deep dive into the art and maybe science of small talk on dates in English. We've covered so much.
We really have, from those crucial first moments, those icebreakers.
Right, through keeping things flowing, using humor.
Knowing what topics to maybe avoid, especially early on.
And even how to wrap things up gracefully at the end.
Indeed. And I think the big underlying principle through all of these tips and phrases is that small talk. It might seem, well, small.
Just casual chat.
Right, but it's actually the foundation, isn't it? It's the groundwork you lay for building potentially deeper connections later on.
That's a great way to put it. It's not insignificant at all.
Not at all. By being mindful of these strategies, these phrases, hopefully you, the listener, can approach those initial interactions with a bit more confidence, feel a bit more at ease.
And crucially, maybe have a much more enjoyable time in the process. Because dating should be fun, right? Or at least not terrifyingly awkward.
Ideally, yes. Remember, it really boils down to being present, actually listening, showing genuine curiosity about the other person.
And just creating an atmosphere that feels comfortable, engaging, for both of you.
Absolutely. So as you maybe get ready for your next date, take these tips on board. Think about them.
Practice them a bit, maybe?
Yeah, practice. Adapt them so they feel like you. Make them fit your own personality, your own style of communicating. Don't try to be someone you're not.
Most importantly, be authentic. Be yourself.
That's always the best advice, isn't it?
Okay, well, that brings us towards the end of this particular deep dive. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We really appreciate you tuning in.
We do indeed.
And before you head off, we just have one final little request. If you found this exploration helpful, if you enjoyed it, and you'd like to hear more in-depth conversations like this one,
please do take just a moment to subscribe to the channel English Easy here.
Your support, honestly, it means the world to us. It really helps us continue creating this content and bringing these deep dives to you.
We sincerely hope this discussion has given you some valuable tools, some insights, some things to think about that you can actually use on your next date.
Maybe take a moment, reflect on which of these starters, or maybe the humor tips or the avoidance strategies, which ones resonated most with you.
Yeah, think about your own personality, your dating style. How could you adapt some of these ideas for your next opportunity to connect with someone new?
Because ultimately, getting comfortable with these seemingly small talk skills that really can open the door to bigger, much more meaningful conversations down the line.
And who knows what kind of wonderful connections might just blossom from there, right?
Exactly. You never know. So, until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep connecting.
And enjoy the journey.
Hey there, and welcome back to the deep dive.
Great. great to be here.
Before we jump into today's topic, just
Sure.
a quick reminder. If you're enjoying these deep dives and, want more tips for boosting your English skills.
Definitely hit that subscribe button for the English Easy Here channel.
Yeah, lots of good stuff over there to help you connect and communicate better.
Absolutely. And today we're diving into something, well, pretty relevant for a lot of people, I think.
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
We're looking at small talk, specifically for a coffee date. We got this really thorough ultimate guide from a listener, actually.
Ah, the coffee date. Okay, yeah, that can be tricky territory sometimes. So this guide, what's our mission with it today?
Well, it's not just about, filling the silence.
Right.
The idea is to really unpack the strategies in this guide. We're talking specific phrases, topics, the whole deal.
So you walk away feeling, genuinely more confident for your next coffee meetup. Like you can actually make a connection.
Exactly. Understanding why certain approaches work, not just what to say. It's about the dynamics, really.
Okay, I like it. So where does the guide suggest we kick things off, that initial moment?
Right at the start. Breaking the ice, setting a friendly tone, that's crucial.
Makes sense.
And the guide's first suggestion is honestly pretty simple but effective. It's, hey, I'm really glad we could meet up for coffee.
Hey, I'm really glad we could meet up for coffee.
Okay. It sounds nice, friendly.
It is. And, well, think about why. It immediately sets a positive frame, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're saying you're happy to be there.
Exactly. It confirms the decision to meet was a good one, puts the other person at ease straight away.
Yeah.
It's warmer than just, hi.
Right. Hi can be a bit flat. This has enthusiasm. The guide has an example too, doesn't it? Something like,
Yeah. Hey, I'm really glad we could meet up for coffee. It's always nice to relax and chat over a cup.
see, that always nice to relax and chat bit.
Yeah.
That adds another layer, doesn't it? Totally. It frames the whole thing as, a pleasant, low-stress activity, not an interview.
Yeah. Nobody wants a coffee date interrogation.
Exactly. It taps into that shared idea of coffee being, well, relaxing and social.
Okay, good start. What's next in the guide's opening strategy?
Asking about the actual cafe. Have you been to this cafe before?
Okay. Simple enough. But what if they just say no?
But that's the beauty of it, according to the guide. Even a no opens doors.
How so?
Well, if they have been there, great. You can ask for recommendations. Or, oh, cool, what's good here? Or, what do you usually get?
Right. Shows you value their opinion, gives you something immediate to talk about.
Exactly. Shared point of reference.
And if they haven't been there?
Then it becomes a shared new experience. You can be like, oh, me neither. Looked interesting, didn't it? Or mention why you picked it.
So it turns into a little, joint discovery.
Precisely. The guide gives this example. Have you been to this cafe before? I've heard the caramel macchiato is amazing here.
Ah, okay. Adding that specific drink mention. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's not just a yes-no, is it? It gives them something specific to react to. Maybe they've heard that too, or maybe they hate caramel macchiatos.
Either way, it's a conversation starter.
Exactly. It shows you've, paid a little attention to the place. It's about finding that immediate common ground, even if it's just the coffee shop itself. Safe territory.
And I guess that could lead somewhere fun too, right? Like maybe they tried it before and it was a disaster, or they have some funny story about a different cafe.
Absolutely. That's what the guide hints at. Connecting over shared experiences or potential funny stories. Laughter, even small chuckles, builds rapport super quickly.
Shows you're not too serious.
Right. Easy going.
Okay, so we've got expressing gladness, asking about the venue. What else for breaking the ice?
The third one is also coffee-centric, maybe even more personal. So, how do you like your coffee?
Seems basic, but I guess people can be pretty particular about their coffee.
Oh, definitely. It's like a mini ritual for some people, isn't it? Their specific order, the milk, the sugar, or lack thereof.
Yeah, true. It's a little window into their tastes, maybe even habits.
Are they a straight black coffee person, or do they go for the complicated, sugary concoctions?
The guide's example is quite direct. So, how do you like your coffee? I'm all about espresso. I can't survive without it in the morning.
See, that tells you something, doesn't it? Maybe they're high energy, maybe they like things intense.
Yeah, and it practically forces the other person to respond like, oh wow, not me, or me too.
Exactly. It's a natural prompt for them to share their own preference. Creates that back and forth.
And the guide mentions this can lead into talking about the menu if the cafe has variety.
Spot on. If they say, oh, I love oat milk lattes, and you see one on the menu, boom, instant next topic.
Okay, so these openers are all about being positive, finding common ground in the immediate situation, and asking easy, open questions.
Pretty much. Low stakes, high potential for starting a good flow.
Right. So once the ice is broken, how do we keep that momentum going? Avoid the dreaded awkward pause.
Yes, keeping it flowing. The guide stresses sticking to sort of light and fun topics, especially early on.
Why light and fun specifically?
Well, it's about building comfort, isn't it? You want the person to relax, to associate the interaction with feeling good. Heavy topics right away can be a lot.
Yeah, puts people on guard maybe?
Exactly. Light topics let personality shine through without pressure, building that pleasant foundation.
Okay, makes sense. So what kind of light and fun topics does the guide suggest?
The first one circles back to coffee, but with a twist. Do you have a favorite coffee drink or any weird coffee habits?
Ooh, weird coffee habit. I like that. That could be gold.
Right. It invites something a bit more unique, maybe quirky. Everyone has little routines, some funnier than others.
Sharing something a bit silly can be quite endearing, can't it?
Totally. Shows you don't take yourself too seriously. It's playful.
The example given is, do you have a favorite coffee drink or any weird coffee habits? I like my coffee extra strong. No room for sugar.
That no room for sugar, but it's almost a little declaration of principle.
Huh. Yeah, and the other person might jump on that like, oh, really? Why no sugar? Or same here.
Exactly. It sparks curiosity. The guide's point about quirky habits leading to personal preferences is key here. Those little details make people interesting.
Okay, so weird coffee habits.
What else?
Moving slightly away from coffee, but still in that relaxed vein. What's your idea of a perfect Sunday morning?
I like that one. That feels like it could tell you a lot about someone's lifestyle, their values even.
Definitely. It gets into how they unwind, what brings them joy when they're not working. Are they active? A homebody, a late riser?
Yeah, reveals their pace of life. The example is quite cozy. What's your idea of a perfect Sunday morning? I love a slow start with a good cup of coffee and a book.
Paints a picture, doesn't it? And it immediately prompts you to think about your ideal Sunday. Totally. And if they say something similar, instant connection.
Mm-hmm.
If it's different,
Then you get to learn something new about them. Maybe they love hiking on Sunday mornings or going to a market. Opens up new avenues.
so it's about understanding their downtime.
Exactly. What they choose to do when they have free choice. It's revealing.
Okay, good one. And then the guide brings up travel. Oh, it's
Okay.
a classic, right? What's the best trip you've ever been on?
It's a go-to for a reason. Travel stories are usually positive. People like reliving those adventures, the discoveries.
Yeah, it's generally upbeat. And most people have some kind of travel story, even if it's just a weekend trip.
Right, it's accessible. The example is straightforward. What's the best trip you've ever been on? I went to Japan a few years ago, and it was unreal.
That word unreal, you immediately want to know more, don't you?
Exactly. What made it unreal? What did you do? It begs for follow-up questions.
What part? Favorite thing? Yeah, easy follow-ups.
And it opens the door to finding places you've both been or places you both want to go. Shared dreams or shared memories.
Travel's a solid bet then. What's the last suggestion in this keeping it flowing section?
Hobbies and activities outside of work. Are you into any hobbies or activities outside of work?
This feels really important for getting the whole picture of someone.
Totally. Work is just one part of life. What do they choose to do for fun, for passion, for relaxation? That's often where the real personality comes out.
Are they sporty, creative,
Yeah,
outdoorsy, a gamer?
exactly. The example is simple. Are you into any hobbies or activities outside of work? I love hiking on the weekends.
Clear, specific. Invites questions like, oh, cool, where do you hike? Or how'd you get into that?
And this is where, as the guide points out, you can really uncover those shared interests. If you both love hiking, bingo. Potential future activity right there.
Or even if you don't share it, just showing genuine interest in their passion is good, right?
Absolutely. It shows you're curious about them as a whole person, not just ticking boxes.
Okay, so favorite drink habits, perfect Sundays, travel, hobbies, solid ways to keep things light and moving.
Yeah, building that positive, comfortable connection.
No. The guide also talks about humor, injecting a bit of lightheartedness. Why is that particularly helpful on a coffee date?
Oh, humor's huge. It's like social glue, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely breaks down barriers.
Makes things feel less formal, more relaxed. Sharing a laugh, even a small one, creates a bond. It signals you're comfortable not taking things too seriously.
Right. So what kind of humorous comments does the guide suggest? We're not talking stand-up comedy here, presumably.
No, no, definitely not. More like light, playful observations. The first one is kind of flattering, actually. I think I might need another coffee to keep up with all the cool stuff you're saying.
Huh. Okay. Delivered with a smile, that could work.
Yeah, it shows you're engaged, impressed even, but in a fun, non-intense way.
The example adds a bit more. I think I might need another coffee to keep up with all the cool stuff you're saying. Your travel stories are amazing.
See, tying it to something specific, they said the travel stories makes it land better. It's not just generic flattery.
It shows you were actually listening.
Exactly. And it reinforces that easygoing vibe the guide mentions. You're enjoying the chat.
Okay, what's another humor example?
This one's a bit self-deprecating, maybe. I'm definitely going to be bouncing off the walls after all this caffeine.
Huh. Relatable, especially if you're both on your second cup.
Right. It acknowledges the shared situation the caffeine intake creates a little we're in this together feeling.
The example adds, I'm definitely going to be bouncing off the walls after all this caffeine. Hope you're ready for some fast-paced conversation.
Playful sets a fun expectation, shows you're not worried about being perfectly composed.
Makes it feel more casual, less pressure.
Precisely. Relaxed and informal.
And the last one the guide offers. This one feels very relatable to me. I always feel like I need to drink at least 2 cups of coffee to be a functioning adult in the morning.
Oh, yeah. That's almost a universal sentiment, isn't it?
Totally. That morning struggle is real for many people.
And sharing that common, everyday feeling, it builds camaraderie, shared humanity almost.
The example elaborates slightly. I always feel like I need to drink at least 2 cups of coffee to be a functioning adult in the morning. It's like my daily ritual.
See how that opens the door? Talking about rituals, morning routines. It invites them to share their own habits.
Finding those little shared quirks.
Exactly, those small points of connection.
Okay, so humor helps keep it light, builds connection, shows you're relaxed. Good stuff.
Definitely a tool to have in your back pocket.
Now, we've talked about what to do, but the guide also covers the flip side. What topics are probably best to steer clear of on a first coffee date?
Yes, the avoid list. And this is important because, well, the goal is a positive first impression, right?
Right. Don't want to sabotage things before they even start.
Exactly. Certain topics can just bring the mood down, create awkwardness, or add pressure way too soon.
Okay, so what's first on the no-go list?
Getting too deep into really personal issues, past traumas, current major struggles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that feels heavy for a first casual meeting. You're just getting to know each other.
Precisely. Vulnerability is important in relationships, absolutely. But maybe not spilling your deepest secrets 30 minutes into the first coffee.
If you feel like oversharing, maybe make the other person uncomfortable?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. Creates an imbalance. The guide suggests a polite way to redirect if someone starts going there.
What's the suggestion?
Something like, I'd rather keep things light and fun for now, but let's definitely dive into deeper conversations as we get to know each other more.
That's tactful.
Mm-hmm.
It acknowledges them, but sets a boundary for now.
Exactly. It validates their potential desire to share, but gently guides the conversation back to lighter territory. Keep it light initially. That's the key takeaway.
Okay. Avoid deep personal drama. What's next?
The X-Files. Discussing past partners.
Ah, yes. The classic first date, don't. Why is this usually such bad news?
Well, several reasons. It can make your date feel like you're comparing them.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Or it might signal you're not actually over your ex, which is not ideal.
Definitely sends the wrong message. Or just brings negativity into it.
Exactly. It's supposed to be about the two of you, here and now, not ghosts of relationships past.
So if the topic comes up, how does the guide suggest handling it?
Again, a gentle redirection. I think it's better to keep the past in the past and focus on getting to know each other now.
Direct, but polite.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the focus firmly on the present.
Right. It shuts down that specific path without being rude. Focus on this connection, not old ones.
Makes sense. Okay, so no heavy issues, no ex talk. What's the third big avoid?
Bringing up marriage or kids too soon?
Whoa, yeah. That feels like jumping way, way ahead on a first coffee date.
Right. These are huge life topics. Mentioning them immediately can feel like you have, like, an agenda or a checklist.
Puts a ton of pressure on what's supposed to be a casual meetup.
Exactly. It can feel overwhelming, make the other person think you're rushing things, or have very specific, maybe misaligned expectations.
So how to navigate that if, maybe, the other person brings it up somehow?
The guide suggests keeping it casual and focused on the present enjoyment. I'm enjoying getting to know you, and I think it's fun to just go with the flow right now.
Okay. That's smooth. It acknowledges you're having a good time, but subtly postpones the heavy stuff.
Exactly. It brings it back to the immediate experience, getting to know each other without the weight of long-term commitments right off the bat.
Keep it focused on the now. That seems to be the theme for avoiding pitfalls.
Pretty much. Keep it light, positive, and focused on the present interaction.
All right. So we've navigated the conversation, kept it light, avoided the danger zones. Now we're nearing the end of the coffee. How do we wrap things up smoothly? The guide covers this too, right? Leaving a good final impression.
Absolutely. The ending is, well, it's your closing statement, isn't it? It's the last thing they'll remember.
Yeah, you don't want to fumble it after having a great chat.
Right. A good ending reinforces the positive experience and opens the door for future possibilities. An awkward ending.
Well, it can sour things a bit.
Okay, so what are some good strategies for a smooth exit? The first one is pretty direct. Express enjoyment and signal interest in seeing them again. Something like, "This was really fun. I'd love to do it again sometime."
Clear, positive, unambiguous.
Exactly. It tells them you had a good time, and it also gently tests the waters for their interest. Their reaction tells you a lot.
The guide's example adds a little more. "This was really fun. I'd love to do it again sometime. Maybe we can grab coffee again or try out a new place."
Yeah, suggesting a potential next activity, even vaguely like a new place, makes it feel more concrete, shows you've actually thought about it.
Makes it easier for them to say yes, maybe?
Could be. It moves beyond just some time to a potential plan.
Okay, what's another option for wrapping up?
A simple thank you combined with looking forward, like, "Thanks for a great time. I'm definitely looking forward to the next coffee date."
That feels a little more confident in expressing interest. Assumes there will be a next time.
Slightly, yeah. It's polite, "Thanks for a great time," but also clearly states your positive feeling and hope for another meeting. Less ambiguity.
The example is enthusiastic. "Thanks for a great time. I had a blast. Let's do it again soon."
Yeah, I had a blast that really conveys strong positive feelings, and "let's do it again soon" is encouraging, but still relatively casual.
Okay. And the final wrap-up strategy.
This one's a bit more casual, putting the ball slightly in their court. "Let me know when you're free next and we can grab coffee again."
Ah, okay. So it shows interest, but gives them control over the timing.
Exactly. It respects their schedule, shows you're keen, but you're not demanding a specific day right then and there.
The example adds a nice touch. "Let me know when you're free next and we can grab coffee again. I'd love to continue our conversation."
Yeah, that last part, "continue our conversation," reinforces that you genuinely enjoyed talking to them specifically. It wasn't just killing time.
It refers back to the connection you made during the chat.
Precisely. A gentle prompt for round 2.
So, 3 solid ways to end on a high note. Express fun and suggest another time, thank them and look forward, or casually suggest they let you know when they're free.
All aiming for that positive, clear, and open finish.
And then the guide sort of wraps everything up with one big overarching piece of advice, doesn't it?
It does, and it kind of boils down to the essentials, really.
Which are?
Be yourself, like genuinely you. People can usually tell if you're putting on an act.
Authenticity.
Listen actively, like really pay attention, show genuine interest. It's respectful and, frankly, makes for a much better conversation.
Not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. And finally, make sure it's enjoyable for both of you. It's a two-way street.
So, authenticity, listening, and mutual enjoyment. That sounds like a pretty good recipe for any interaction, really.
Fundamentally, yes. It all comes back to trying to make a genuine connection.
Keeping it light, keeping it fun, keeping it engaging. If you manage that, the coffee date's probably going well.
That's the goal. A pleasant shared experience, whatever happens next.
Wow. Okay, that was a really thorough breakdown of that ultimate guide. Lots of practical stuff in there.
Yeah, it really covered the whole arc, didn't it? From that very first hello or, glad we could meet up.
Right, through keeping the chat alive with things like travel and hobbies.
Using a bit of humor, knowing what topics might be best left for later.
Like exes or mapping out your entire future together.
Yeah, maybe save that for date 3 or 10.
And then wrapping it all up nicely, leaving the door open.
It's a solid roadmap, I think. Really helpful for anyone who feels a bit unsure about those initial conversations.
So the big takeaway for you listening out there is probably just approach it with these ideas in mind, but don't overthink it to the point where you sound like a robot reading a script.
Oh, absolutely. Be present, be open, be yourself. Aim to actually enjoy the chat.
And maybe start with that simple, "Hey, I'm really glad we can meet up for coffee."
Can't go far wrong with that. Sets a nice tone.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today. We really hope you picked up some useful tips.
Hope you feel a bit more prepped and confident for your next coffee date. Remember, connection and enjoyment are the main goals. Good luck.